how to fix insufficient HTTPS coverage on your site. In Google Search Console, the new page experience on mobile. If you end up seeing HTTPS failing and Search Console is giving you a warning saying insufficient HTTPS coverage was discovered on your website, and you're thinking, well, how do I fix it? What is that error is all about? You're in luck, because I'm going to not only explain what this problem is, but share insights whereby you can use and fix this for your website. Basically, when you press on Learn More link, Search Console is saying, you know what, there is HTTPS problem on your site. That's a given, right? So if you're experienced with SSLs, then you know what that is all about. Then all you need to do is make sure that you visit some web pages on your website using the non-HTTPS version. And at that moment, you should not be able to see that web page without the S in the address bar, okay? So let's imagine we did try and visit the non-HTTPS. As you can see, my particular setup has been redirected to the secure version. That means I do have a secure lock icon and the certificate is valid. Usually SSL certificates are taken care of by your web hosting service provider. Popular ones such as GoDaddy, Crazy Domains, SiteGround and so on usually charge a small fee per year. Well, GoDaddy does, so does Crazy Domains. And if you end up not paying that yearly fee for the SSL, then it could expire. So therefore, Search Console may actually pick that up. Meaning, first thing to do is double make sure that your web hosting account is using valid SSL certificates for your website installation. If you have WordPress hosted setups, for example, then contact the web hosting service provider saying, you know what, it seems that there's a problem with SSL on my website. If you have access to cPanel, from your cPanel, you can actually press on SSL link to double make sure that it's not expired. Also, let's press on File Manager, because I'm going to show you a sample code for Apache servers that you can use that should redirect things correctly. So let's press on File Manager. Somewhere on your site is where your website files are located. And .htaccess file for Apache server setups, you should be able to download it and edit it. If you're not seeing that, then press on Settings in cPanel and make sure Show Hidden Files and .files are checked. First thing to do anytime you modify code is right-click and download a backup, because if something goes wrong, you can upload that backup. Then you can right-click, press on Edit. Now, I've created a sample code on RankYa blog under the blog post, Your Site Has No URLs with a Good Page Experience. Simply locate that blog post, copy this sample.htaccess file directive, and then make some room in .htaccess file, then place that code above. Simply paste that code. Now, what this code does is it taps into a module called mod rewrite, saying, you know what, if the HTTPS is not on, then environment protocol should be using HTTPS, thus redirect visitors to HTTPS version for my website. Okay, so you can use this because you have SSL certificates are installed. Now, once you do that, obviously, then you save changes. But what if you're using WordPress? Then I'll show you a couple of places for you to double check to make sure that everything is using HTTPS correctly. And you can do that through logging into your WordPress dashboard, press on Settings, press on General. Under General Settings, you need to make sure that the website address URL and site address URL is using HTTPS version. That means if you end up seeing this on your site, then make sure you add that S here. But remember, anytime you tweak things, you need to do things correctly. Meaning if you're unsure, then it may be in your best interest to get a hold of a web developer. There's plenty on internet, or you can even hire RankYa to make these changes. Because if you end up modifying things on your site and then you end up losing your site, make sure you can access the cPanel and you have the backups just in case. But this is rather safe option to do this. And just imagine I did make this change here and I end up losing my WordPress installation. Then it's very easy fix. You can press on PHP MyAdmin, locate your WordPress installation, and under PHP MyAdmin tables where your WordPress site is installed in, there is a table called Options. In there you'll have site URL and home URL. I blurted this particular screen for privacy reasons, but nonetheless the option value should be using HTTPS. That means the setting that you set from your WordPress dashboard comes from there. If you end up making changes here and you can't somehow log back into your WordPress site, then from your PHP MyAdmin options, site URL, home URL, you can change it here from your web hosting account. So next, what can we do? How else can we fix insufficient HTTPS? What else can we do? On your WordPress installation, there is a file called wp-config. I've just shown you FileZilla version because I use FTP for my setup. You simply right click, download this particular file. You don't have to use FileZilla, but you can modify it from your web hosting account because that file looks like this here. This is for WordPress setup. I've included 2 lines of code whereby you can place it into wp-config.php. What this will do is force the URLs for admin or normal logins to be done through SSL versions. That sample code can be accessed from RankYa blog as well. Then once you have made these tweaks, whether it's for WordPress or other setups, you just need to make sure that the website and the web pages cannot be accessed through HTTP version only. So using our keyboard, we can press on F12. We can at this moment select Network tab using Google Chrome Web Developer Toolbar. We can press on the refresh icon and hold the key on our mouse and then select empty cache and hard reload. Let's do that. We're under Network tab here. Then usually the first URL is in first request will be the page name. That means we can press on that and see the headers. Here, request URL at this moment should be HTTPS for some web pages on your site. That means simply test them on the network tab, making sure that you're seeing HTTPS 200 status instead of a redirection and so on. Because when you make these checks, then you end up saying to yourself, you know what? No. My website is thoroughly using SSL certificates. Make sense? If that's the case, then Google Search Console will also update insufficient HTTPS coverage on your site. So let me wrap it up once again. This is to do with SSL certificates. All you need to do is make sure that you have a valid one that's not expired, and then make sure that your website web pages cannot be accessed through the HTTP version. Finally, if all is okay and you do end up using HTTPS version of your site, then one more thing that can be wrong, and that is mixed content issues. That means the URL itself may be using HTTPS, but certain other files on your website, perhaps images and so on, can still be accessed through non-HTTP version. If that's the case, that could also trigger insufficient HTTPS coverage on your site. But if you follow these insights that I've just shared with you, then I am more than certain you will fix insufficient HTTPS coverage on your site. Yeah, if you follow these methods and you still end up seeing this after you make changes perhaps on your site, give it a week or two, then come back, and if you still see it, then comment on the video, on this particular video, and let's find a solution accordingly. Remember, RankYa is a WordPress optimization specialist. That means if you end up having a site built on Wix or Google Blogspot and all that stuff, I may not be able to assist you. So therefore, reading the help section for your web hosting setup may be ideal. I thank you very much for learning with RankYa, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.